Hi everybody, this is Arkady Frekhtman. I'm a New York City personal injury trial attorney, and today we are going to break down how to tell a client's story. And this is both the preparation, what an attorney can do, one of the possible methods an attorney could use to talk to his or her client in order to develop the client's story and to find out how the client suffered, right, to show the damages at trial and therefore get the maximum possible compensation. So this is one particular method, and I could do other videos where we could talk about other methods. There's a lot of different ways. The best way is obviously for the lawyer just to get to know the client, whether that means going to the client's home, spending time with the client, having the client come into the office, doing multiple prep sessions, truly getting to know the person, the individual. Who is this person? How has their life changed? In order to explain that to strangers, in New York we have 6 jurors, 6 strangers. In order to effectively persuade 6 strangers that this is a life-changing forever injury and that a verdict for millions upon millions of dollars is justified. Justice is, let's say, $5 or $10 million. In order to prove that, you have to really know the person. Who was the person before they got injured? What were their relationships like? What were their relationships with their loved ones, with their family, with their wife, with their kids, with their husband, with their brothers, sisters, parents? What were their work relationships? What were their family relationships? And then how has all that changed? Now that the incident has happened, now that they have this permanent injury, how has all that changed? What is it like now? And kind of showing those two worlds. That's really, really important. So one way to do it, I was watching a webinar, and this is actually from Trial Lawyers University. And this was a particular individual. His name is Jesse Wilson. He's not an attorney, but he works with attorneys, and he does witness preparations, and I think he even wrote a book. I think it's called To Tell the Winning Story, or How to Do Witness Preparation. He's a really smart guy, and so he worked with this one attorney on this case. It was a car crash case, and the highest offer they ever had was $80,000, and they ended up, I believe it was I think it was a settlement, or maybe no, I think it was a verdict. They took the case to trial using this method, and the verdict at trial was $2.5 million. So much, much greater than the $80,000 offer. So how did they do it? And he talks about some of the tactics. So the important thing, number one, is to focus on the strength, right? Even if it's a serious life-changing injury, such as, let's say, a traumatic brain injury, a back injury like a herniated disc with the need for surgery, like a fusion surgery, that can be very, very debilitating, right? And you say, oh, I can't do anything anymore. But what you don't want to do is you do not want to go into court and just whine, because nobody likes whining. And the way he explains it and he frames it is he says, this is a victim to victor story. You don't want to tell the victim story, like I'm a victim, like woe is me, I'm so sad, I'm just why. Nobody likes that. Nobody's going to give much money for that. But what you do want to do is you want to tell the try story, the strength story, that despite all this, even though I have this traumatic brain injury, I still try. Even though I have this major fusion and herniated discs and I can't do some of the things I've done before, I still try. And so it's very, very important to tell the try story and to focus on the strength that is needed to overcome the pain, because you don't want to make the entire case about pain. And one of the ways that he does it is he talks about, well, what is the surface story and what is the story beneath the surface? And he says that everyone has a mask. And like, think about your client's mask. I guess the mask is what you prefer the rest of the world not see. And you have to really think about that. So that gets a little bit, philosophical or a little bit deep. You have to think about, okay, who am I and what do you prefer the rest of the world not see about me? And then you focus on the strength and you focus on what's needed to overcome the pain. And one of the questions that I guess this is a question you could ask your client, or you could ask family members, but it's also a question you could ask prospective jurors in the voir dire when you're picking a juror. And the question is, who here knows anybody who, despite their pain, is doing the best they can to try to hide their pain? And so you ask that and you get people talking. Like, a lot of people have pain, a lot of people have injuries, but who is doing their best to try to hide their pain, right? Or try to overcome their pain and still live their life? Because ultimately what you want to get to is the joy story. And people have joy in their life, different ways you could have joy, right? It could be through spending time with family, it could be hobbies, activities, it could be sports like baseball, tennis, basketball, whatever you like. It could be just getting together, book clubs, or playing games like it could be anything really, right? Walk on the beach. So to get to the joy story, one of the ways you could do it is you could ask the client, who do you love, right? What are the relationships in your life that are important? And what do you love? What are your passions? What are you passionate about? It could be work, right? Some people love their work. They just go in, whether it's like being a lawyer, doctor, they want to just help people. They love being a doctor, they love being a lawyer. Some people may just love, cars and fixing cars, or, it could be anything. So you want to really get to that, and you want to understand how their dreams and how both their surface story and beneath the surface story, how both were changed. And so it's really important for you to find your client's mask, and then what's beneath that mask. And they talk about the fact that joy is a superpower in the courtroom if you know how to wield it. So it's really critical. Like, one of the ways I've seen other lawyers do it is during jury selection, you ask the jurors, you say, if you could be anywhere with anyone, who would you be with and where would you be? And I've actually asked this question, and you get a wide variety of answers, but usually the answers tend to focus on being with loved ones, like my husband, my kids, my family, and being somewhere nice, like on a vacation or in the beach. Or some people would say, I want to go to a specific place, like where they're from, like back to Vietnam or wherever they're from, But a lot of people just say the beach or vacation, or So what you want to do is you want to tell the story of joy, because what the jurors who are listening to this case, these are strangers, and what they really want to find out is this person real? And by real are they credible? Are they telling the truth, as opposed to like a liar or a cheater and a fraud, or somebody who's trying to game the system, right? Trying to pass one over on them. And number two, what are they doing to try to overcome their problem? Because, they have this problem. Okay, they didn't ask for it. They got an injury because of a car crash, and now they have this injury. But what are they doing to overcome it? And if they're already finding strength and being resilient and trying to overcome obstacles and having this positive story, then the jurors want to help them along the way, because they're already like almost a hero, right? And the jury want to pick up a hero and help them further. But if they're just like, oh no, I can't do anything, I'm hurt, I can't work, I can't move, I can't do this, I can't do that, then it's like, wait a minute, they're just sitting on the couch, they've just already given up. What's the point of giving them money, right? So you don't want to do that. You want to show how the person is still trying. You always want to tell the try story. And then really it comes down to the value of what has been taken, because it's not something that has just been lost. It's really something that has been taken from an injury victim because of someone else's negligence, whether it's a truck that hits someone, right? Whether it's a hole, dangerous condition, a ceiling collapse, whatever it is, something was taken. And how can the jurors tell you the value of what was taken away from them if you don't show it to them first, right? If you don't show it to them what this family, what this person had, then how could these strangers tell you the value of what was taken? I get a lot of questions on my channel, in the comments, or when I do lives. What is my case worth? I have a left shoulder supraspinatus tendon tear. Well, it could be worth, $10 million. It could be worth 10,000. It could be worth 10 cents. It all depends on how you present it, right? So this is a great point. How can the jurors, just strangers who are called get the summons for jury duty, how could they tell you the value if you don't show it to them first? And what that means is, let's say you have a case, right, of somebody who has a serious injury. Well, what was this person before? Tell me about their life. Show me a picture, almost like when you watch a movie, right? They don't just go into the movie and just like, I don't know, kill somebody off, and then you're like, okay, they killed somebody, I don't know who this person is. No, if someone like dies later in the movie or something happens in the movie, right? Someone's a hero in the movie. First, you have to develop the character. You have to explain who this person is. This is a family man. This is a person who loves their dog. Then the dog runs away. Then you feel sad. Oh, the dog ran away. But if it's just a random dog running away, you don't know anything about the dog. You don't know, then who cares, right? So it's the same thing. It's like you have to tell the jurors the value. You have to show them the value. Not even tell them, but show them the value. So the way you show them the value is through giving these snapshots of someone's life, what their life was like, where they found joy, where they found happiness. And you do it through almost like a storyteller, right? Almost like a director of a movie or of a play. And you show it to them through little stories of them trying, overcoming obstacles. You develop themes. And, in the webinar that I watched, he actually compared it to the Rocky Balboa, the Rocky movies, like Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3. And he said the movie is not really about a boxer, but the real movie, like in Rocky, was the battle that he had with the man in the mirror, right? The battle he had with himself. And so that's true of a lot of people. It could be true of anyone. So it's like the values. You have to understand the values that a client can have. So the greatest value for one particular client may be the relationship with their child. You have to look into the emotional damages, right? How the emotions play in. The types of questions he was asking, like in this particular case that I was talking about, where they won the 2.5 million, he was asking, like, why is being a father so important to you? And it was because his father didn't really spend much time with him. So then he just had one love language, his father, the client's father, and that was working on cars. He actually spent a lot of time working on cars. So he didn't really spend time with his kids. So then he thought to himself, well, I want to be a great father. I don't want to have that, same thing that happened to me when I was a kid. I want to be a great father. So he wants to be a father. He was a great father, but now this injury happened, everything changed. Now, even though he's trying still, the juror could see that he's trying, he's not giving up. He's not telling the cannot story. He's telling the can story, the try story, but it's just not the same. And they see that. And that's why they're like, wow, this is worth millions. So that's the point, I guess, that he was trying to make. And I guess the idea is this mask, right? Your mask and what you prefer the rest of the world not see. So yeah, it's kind of deep, but that's one way to one way to tell a human story, and one of the things you can kind of dive into. And like I said, I could do other videos where we go into some other methods. There's some certain, I think I've done some videos maybe on it before, some things called different themes that you could use, like shame, humiliation. I think they call it like different different fears or different themes that you can go into. But this is definitely powerful. So the idea of joy, the idea of happiness, and then ultimately civil justice is when you lose your ability to be happy, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's right in the Constitution, and it's everyone's right. So if that gets taken away, it's not just like they make it seem like it's nothing, right? The insurance company, they make it seem like, oh, you're trying to win the lawsuit lottery, you're trying to get a payday. But it's not that, right? It's everything. It's life, it's liberty, freedom to do things pain-free, freedom to do the things you love, the things you have to do, the things you want to do, and the pursuit of happiness, which is everything, right? If you take that away, then what's left? And we become like robots, right? We just have to do anything. That's what do we live for? We live for to be happy. So Yeah, it's definitely good. I mean, it's always going to be different with each person, and you have to do, but it's kind of like a nice framework that you could use. So I hope this was helpful. Let us know what questions you have. We are here for you. Our goal is helping serious injury victims and families. Okay, all the best.